Welcome to the Marketing Lab. So excited that you're here. And I do want to continue to see in the chat a win from last week or a win over these last couple of weeks as you have been a part of this 4-week lab series. So please go ahead and do that. And I'm going to drop in the link to our document, our resource for the day. And I'm going to share my screen in a moment. But I just want to applaud y'all for being here. This is so important. This is the important work that others, let me just say, they're too busy spinning their wheels and doing busy work, and they're skipping what really will move the needle. So bravo, give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, it's in the afternoon. No coffee here. We have the energy. Oh, I see Colleen has a cup of coffee. That's fine. I just meant, come on, let's go. All right, let's begin in a prayer today, and then we're gonna dive into the substance. Sound good? Sound good? All right. Heavenly Father, you are the reason we're here. We praise you, God. When we seek you, you become seen, you become found, you become known. And, it's just a beautiful thing to be one of yours. It's a beautiful thing to be a daughter of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And so, God, you see how what I've been doing in preparation for this entire 4-week series, and in particular, the content for today. Lord, take over. I'm going to be, as always, very open to the movement of the Holy Spirit because you're the reason why we're doing this work in the first place. You're the reason we're here. So, Lord, we thank you in advance for how you're going to move. We love you, we praise you, and we pray these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord. Amen. Amen. All right. Yes, it is cold. It's cold everywhere. We're getting down to 9 degrees. What do you call that? The wind chill factor in Florida over the weekend. Insane. All right. Okay, let me read some of these aha moments because I think it's important. I want to applaud you. Okay, so April had said clarity around messaging. Colleen, definitely affecting my messaging. Yay. And I'm curious, when you say it's affecting your messaging, do you see that more people are commenting on your stuff? Do you feel like, gosh, more people are seeing it and more people are commenting? Tell me what exactly that means. And then Andrea, refining messaging. Excellent. Laquita, client clarity and offer clarity coming in hot. Yes, yes. All right. Susan, I'm realizing more and more the importance of clarity around my ideal clients and my offer. Yeah. The offer, the foundational thing is your best client. The better we know her or him or they, whoever you serve, the easier selling becomes. Kim, so good to see you, hun. Somehow I missed the first couple, but here I am. Okay, this is the third of the four. So you have this one and the next one. All right. Bonnie, decided on my authority positioning. Love it. Love it. Colleen, at this point, clarity around my messaging. All of it. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. Somebody please drop in the Google Doc if anybody needs it. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so as a reminder, this is part 3 of a 4-part series inside this lab series. By the way, have you liked this lab where we're kind of co-working together? Tell me in the chat so I can come back. I'm not going to pop now, but I'm just curious. Do you like this instead of just a training and you leave and you're like, I don't even know what to do with this, right? I really like this format. All right, here's how we're going to start. And by the way, I like it, but I need to know if it's helping you. That's why I'm here, right? Okay, so tell me in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how solid is your lead gen right now? Meaning, how happy are you with the number and the quality of leads coming in? Do tell on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, 2, 1. I love the honesty. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay, it was a 10, now it's a 6. What? Okay, I love you, Michelle. I think I know what you mean, but tell me in the chat. Okay, Laquita 1, Bonnie 1. Okay, so good. Okay, and you know what? It's fine because after what you learned today, you're going to have the tools. You're going to know, okay, what have I been missing? 7 for Shan. Okay, awesome. So that leads me to my next question. What do you think is missing before we dive into today's, content? What do you think it is? Michelle, by that, not gaining traction as much anymore. Time for a refresh. Okay. Interesting. Okay, April, she doesn't have a clue what's missing. Okay, now I appreciate the vulnerability, but we're smart ladies here. So what would be your best educated guess? Okay. By the way, y'all are going to get a playlist those that have been here. So no worries if you've missed other ones. Okay, your wording. Okay, visibility, connection, and words resonating. Okay, so good. So good. All right, thank you for sharing that. If you didn't pop it in, tell me. All right, before we dive into what really is going on here. All right, the number one lead gen mistake women make. It may surprise you, okay? They rush to the tactics. And they like skip the line and don't do the foundational work that we're going to be talking about today. It's two pieces. It's your core message and your core movement. Core message are the words that convert, and the core movement is what really magnetizes and attracts and draws in high caliber clients that you want. So I think of it this way. Your core message is what you're known for. That's your expertise like nobody else. We'll talk about that. I always want to get ahead of myself. I'm so excited, but it's what you're known for. And your core movement is the emotive element that really excites your people to get behind you, to join you in your cause, and ultimately hire you again and again and again, right? I like to say they're become lifetime clients, right? Or lifetime sales team. Because look at the last thing. They sing your praises to everyone they know because of the movement that you're leading, okay? And these two foundational pieces are the fuel to your lead gen, aka marketing engine, okay? All right, so let's get into the specifics. What is a core message? Your core message is your $1 million idea. That's your power positioning. That's where it really begins. Now, I'm going to give you the formula and the framework, so no worries, okay? But warning, a core message is not your I help statement. And I don't know, I don't really like I help statements. I don't really like I love frameworks that help you to kind of wrap your head around a new concept, but I'm not into the traditional gobbledygook that has been rammed down our throats for years and years. So I'm not really keen on I help statements. It does help to give you clarity, but that is not what I'm talking about here. Your core message is the one, somebody say one foundational thing. It is a concept or a skill that undergirds everything you teach, like everything that you're about, everything that you put out there in your thought leadership, etc. It is a concept or a skill that is the foundation for everything you do, okay? So think of it this way. It's the one thing that acts like the big domino that once this thing is mastered or fully understood or accomplished or achieved, as the case may be, once that big domino is mastered, all of your best clients' problems are solved. Okay, so in other words, the core message is the one thing that your best client needs to get results. And this core message is 1 or 2 words. That's why it's not the I help statement. It is 1 or 2 words. And I'm going to give you an example, so hang on tight. But it is specific and it is sharp. And it's the one thing, and then there's language that comes after it. But again, I got you because it's coming up. Okay. So once you identify the one thing, your messaging becomes tight, clear, and actually converts. Because what I found is, let me get off of here, share for a second. You're smart and you're the expert at what you do. And bottom line is you help your clients achieve more than one thing. Tell me yes in the chat if that's true. You're like, I help them with this, and I help them with this, and I help them with that, right? Some of you might have 5 things or maybe even more that you help your clients with. And so as I work with clients, they're like, Jude, it's hard for me to define my core message. I invite you to throw that thinking in the trash can, okay? Let's decide right here and right now that, yes, there are many things that I do, but I, meaning you, am strong and courageous and bold enough to make a decision and just pick one. And if that's you, say I am. I am bold. I'm courageous. It's not hard. It just takes a decision, okay? And I want you to think, this is so important because I want you to think of your core message as your North Star. This is what drives everything you say. Everything you say points back to this. This is what anchors everything you teach, and it is the filter through which you sell. Okay, because every offer is presented through the lens of your core message. And so here's mine: sales. And I'm going to flesh it out even further. But these are the various and sundry things I help my clients with. And everything points to sales. Messaging's not just words, it's not just marketing, it's sales anchored words, right? Today we're talking about positioning. If you don't, create your positioning, your core message, and your core movement with the end in mind, i.e., what will convert leads to sales, it's not going to work. It's like, oh, I love my positioning statement. I love my value statement, or whatever the heck they call it. I could never understand that. that ultimate value proposition or something. What is that? Like, I don't even know. I'm smart enough to be a lawyer, but I could never figure that one out. So, and even team, if you put a team together without really founding everything on, I'm going to fill roles based upon the sales that I plan to bring in, and I'm going to even determine how many team members I need to accomplish what needs to happen to get the sales. If you just bringing people on to do work without thinking about sales, I know what's happening. Your expenses are way too high. Your profits are near zero, and you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? So everything points back to sales for me. And so you picking out a core message is critical, because that's what differentiates you as a specialist, as an expert, and even more, as the authority on that one thing. Okay. So in that way, your core message actually positions you and makes people stop scrolling. So they're like, oh, like for me, there's plenty of other sales coaches out there, but Jude talks about sales differently. It's holy sales, right? And everything that flows from that. And she not only says, wow, Andrea, Colleen, April, Susan, who I see right now in front of me here, wow, she's different. But more than that, as you kind of flesh out what that core message means, they think, wow, that makes sense. I need to work with her. Like nobody's ever talked about that in that way before. And then the other part to your message, besides this one or two concise words that capture that big domino of how your clients get results, the next thing is you have to add the highly specific results that your clients want. So here's mine. Sales, or I could put holy sales, is the thing that produces everything they want: sold out offers, predictable cash flow, and generational wealth. While, this is the bonus, but it's critical, while working less so that they can experience true freedom. That's a little long, but I don't care. I love it. And you see, the most important thing about a core message is you have to love it. You have to believe in it. And it has to actually capture what your peeps want. My clients don't want sold out offers and money coming in if they're working like a dog 12 hours a day or more every day of the week, right? So this captures what they want. Now you're like, well, Judy, I don't really care about generational wealth. Well, we're commanded to leave an inheritance for our children and our children's children. So love you and all. I fought that too. We good Christian girls. Am I talking to anybody else? But I'm like, ooh, I'm 60. I got some catching up to do. Okay. So here's the framework. Blank, your one thing, is the thing that will, what do your ideal clients really want? Specific, big transformation. Okay. And you'll have time in just a bit to think that through. Okay, that's core message. Now we're going to move on to a core movement. By the way, if you have questions, pop them in the chat, because when we all get heads down to work, after that, I'm going to come back for some hot seat coaching and Q&A. All right, what is a core movement? A core movement is the bigger story that draws in your best client. It's what they say, yes, please, I can get behind that. And really, oftentimes, it captures why you do what you do. Okay, we're going to flesh that out a little bit more too. So your core movement actually invites others to join you in the cause that's behind your work. So it is vision driven, it is often identity rooted, and it's all about the community, right? Because here's the thing. Tell me what's easier, reaching out to people one by one, or doing this work and identifying a movement that will draw the masses. Do you want to do it one at a time, or do you want to create a community of loyal fans, followers, right? Would you rather do it one to one or to the masses? To the masses, right? And so your core movement is so fun. It's what you deeply believe, and it's what you're going to boldly lead. And again, this takes courage, ladies, because you might pick, a word, and it is a word, and then you flesh it out. I'll show you. You might pick a word that you've heard somebody else use. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, hold on a second. There's nothing new under the sun. So will you find a truly unique word? I guess if you coin it yourself, but are people going to understand it? So your core movement captures what your audience immediately taps into. It names what they aspire to be, right? It calls out who they're becoming, and it gives language to even their deeper why. So it really gives your people a flag to rally under. Okay. Think of Charlie Kirk. I just love him so much. Anyway, the stuff I hear about, all of that. But man, that guy had a movement. And it's so funny because millions around the world cried, like myself, who never even met him. That's what I'm talking about. Because we felt his passion. That beautiful man. I better stop talking about him. I'll cry. All right. Your core movement is built around a deeply desired identity of your best client. Or here's another way to think about it. If you're like, I don't know, a frustration that she's done tolerating. Okay. And again, it's one, maybe two words that are specific, and they instantly evoke emotion in the heart of your best client. They get it. And here's some examples. Okay, so worthy, trailblazer, relentless leader. That's identity. And what do they want? They want freedom, right? And what are they sick of? Stress. These are just different examples. And all of this is powered by a distinct point of view, again, on that word or phrase that your best clients can really rally behind. And possibly it's something she hasn't really ever heard before or put together, but when she hears it, she's all in. A movement turns strangers into followers, followers into leads, quality leads, leads into believers, believers into buyers. So here's my movement, okay? Worthy. You guys never heard it before. It's the first time I'm stating it publicly. Worthy. Because as I prayed about it and thought about it, there is an element of my best client audience who already feels worthy. Not because of anything I did or they did, but because of whose they are. But there is an element, because again, we're good Christian girls. It's like, ooh, but I'm not, can I say I'm worthy? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to be braggy or arrogant, heaven forbid, or selfish ambition. So I'm on mission to pull up my sisters to understand you are worthy because Christ called you, period. So as I flesh that out, this is a movement for called, capable women who are unapologetically claiming their seat at the table. Okay? You're going to shed false humility in my movement. You're going to raise your prices to actually reflect the true level of value you provide for your clients, and you sell unashamedly because you know the Lord God created you to make a massive impact, and sales is the only way you serve. Now, you can be honest with me. When I say all of that and you hear all of that, are you like, I'm in? If you're in, say, I'm in. And if it's a disconnect, say disconnect. Like, I truly want to know. I'll be very honest with you, and I know I'm going a little bit long, but I think it's worth doing, and that's why I'm doing it. My biggest thing that I've grappled with in the past year, and especially over Christmas and this first month of the year, is I don't like what I'm seeing with other 7-figure entrepreneurs and certainly 8-figure entrepreneurs who call themselves Christian. And I don't want to be judgy, but yet you see what you see. And I'm like, Lord, I don't want to be anything like them. I don't need a new house. I don't need a fancy schmancy $100,000 car. The extra money I have, I'm giving back to you, to my kids, to the community. Okay. Like, if that's what it takes, no, thank you. I'm like done. And he's been like Joshua, he broke my hip, okay, kind of thing. You following me? So that's what's like, you're worthy. You're going to show a different way. You are not going to compromise your faith in Jesus Christ. You, Judy, will never say, I love money. Money is a thing. I don't love that. I love people. And okay, any Christian that says I love money, they need to be checked. Lord, check me for all the things I say wrong. But that's the heart behind worthy. Okay. So, to crystallize the difference between core message and core movement, the message is the headline, the words of like, hey, this is what I'm all about, and the core movement is the mission. And here's the real juice of it. The core message makes you unforgettable. Because again, you're the expert. I'm the expert in sales for Christian women. Nobody else touches me. And the way I talk about sales and how it's a part of everything, right? A sales-centric business. Their core message makes you unforgettable, and your core movement makes you undeniably the one. One in a million. And people say, I want to be a category leader. Hun, I'm carving out a whole new category. I'm a category owner, and not that you need my permission, but go do it. That's what you're to do too, okay? That makes you the one to follow, the one to hire, the one to tell the world about. Okay, so let's take a pause. Here's why it's so important. These two foundational marketing elements of core message and core movement take you from marketing that merely checks a box, like, okay, I posted twice today, I did it, but it's not producing anything. We're not producing enough. Okay, so say goodbye to all of that. And it leads you to marketing that commands attention, you create demand, and you convert and sign leads to clients much more quickly. Okay, so unless you have these two pieces, the message and the movement, please don't bother creating a freebie. Don't even bother putting an offer together or even creating a single piece of content. It's not going to do anything, or it's not going to do as much as it could do at all. Now, there's a shift that has to happen to your perspective to make this all make sense. And that is, we have to lay down content creation and instead think of anywhere you're putting content out, and in particular, top of mind, of course, is social media. I want you to not think of that as content, but as a body of work, right? I have a podcast, and I've been doing it for 6 years, although admittedly, I don't think I did one episode yet this year because I've been in my funk as God's been handling me, right? Thank you, Jesus. But that's a body of work. But I want you to think of your content as a body of work so that your social feed becomes a like nobody else body of work that drops nugget of gold after nugget of gold so that your feed becomes bingeable. And so you don't have to post every day, but every post you drop is potent. And that potency compounds so that when someone finds you, hears about you, searches you on social and finds you, they're like, oh my gosh, they just love one post after another post after another post. And they're in. Like, how can I get into this woman's world, right? This is thought leadership. This is what produces legacy. This is what provides leverage. This is leadership. And so in the way of laying content creation, you're not a content creator. Type it in the chat. I am not a content creator. I'm an authority who creates a body of work. Everything I say is gold. That's what I want you to think. That's a mindset of elevation. And I don't care if you just opened your doors to business today. Okay. But consistency, they say, you're not consistent enough, or you're not posting enough. You're posting 2 times a day, post 5 times a day. The volume will help you. Anybody doing that? And what happened? I hear it all the time from my clients. Consistency does not produce clients. It's thought leadership that does. That's what puts you on the map. That's what we're talking about. So again, posting twice a week with potent content that makes clear your position as different and a thought leader. It's infinitely better than posting twice or 3 or more times a day with weak content that just sounds like regurgitation of what everybody else is saying. It's all about unique insights. Okay, now I'm going to come off of here and tell you something else. Okay. Other people might have talked about sales as the most important thing in your business. but they don't approach it the way I do as a sales-centric business from every department that focuses on sales per se. But even if there was somebody who did, one second, but even if there is, the way I talk about it, nobody else is Judy Weber. Nobody else talks like me. Nobody else has the combination of goofy and smart. Nobody can touch me on that. And I want to invite you to know that about you too. I don't even care about like my former coaches. Like I could kick their butts when it comes to sales because how I teach my clients is so much easier to get than memorizing a book that's like this thick. Okay. So I just wanted to tell you, like, we need to be bold, ladies. Do we want to really make an impact? Then we need to be bold enough to believe that we are worthy, that we are the authority because the Lord God called us to it. And each of us has a distinct group of our best clients that God says, ooh, they are working with Andrea, they're working with Colleen, they're working with April, Susan, here are your clients, right? Okay, so that is the core message and the core movement. And that's the work that we're going to be doing in just a couple of minutes. But what I wanted to show you is the strategies that once those are in place, that I would encourage you to focus and double down on this year. Are we ready? Say ready in the chat while I take a drink. I don't know, my throat's feeling scratchy. All right, we're ready. Yes. Okay. What is the most productive, efficient, and sustainable lead gen system? Not just a tactic here and there. It's a system that's going to double or even triple revenue this year. It's these 3 lead gen strategies, all organic. You can throw money at it with ads, but that's optional. But you have to execute these with precision. Okay. Now, just broadly, the set it and forget it lead gen, like do it once and it keeps working for you. I love that. So you can fill your pipeline whenever without you. Strategy 2 is a one-to-one lead gen. But look, I'm saying let's do it in less than an hour and a half a day. Okay. And then strategy 3 is some one-to-many lead gen. This is time leveraged, which gives you the freedom that we want. Okay. So the set it and forget it, the crux of this one is your high converting freebie. Now, I'm just curious. Tell me in the chat how many freebies you have right now. Tell me in the chat. The biggest problem that I see from my clients is I've got the freebies, but not many are buying them. They're not raising their hands for them. Okay, let me see how many. Let me just see. 1, 2, 1. Okay, cool. You only need one good one. Anything else is gravy. And then a bonus is 1 or more authority catalyst offers. But let's start with 1. I like to start simply. This is what others call low ticket offers. But these low ticket offers give you a taste, give your people a taste of working with you. And so they're a catalyst for establishing your authority in the minds of those who buy it, right? Your $7 something, your $27 something else, or your $50, who is that? Oh, it's Andrea doing like a $97 28-day reset. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Authority catalyst. They're buying in. It's going to instantly give you a higher caliber client. Why? Because they opened up their wallet. So I love having the freebie for sure. And then when able, right, depending where you are in your business, having an authority catalyst offer. Strategy 2 is one-to-one. This does involve you, okay, with social media posting, which there, when I say posting, ideally, I would love for you to do your own content creation. And I say throw content creation down, but you see what I'm saying? You're creating these beautiful nuggets of gold that you will post, or ultimately at some point you will have somebody else put out there, right? But trust me, do not outsource that. I see too many women wasting tens and hundreds of thousands, literally, with a social media manager. They're creating content. But if you don't have a core message, you don't have a core movement, and you don't have a document to give them to say, these are the parameters, this is what my brand's all about, and this is, you're wasting your money. So social media posting and the power hour is That's all you need to do there. And you can get it done in an hour and a half a day to bring in leads. Hang on. If you're like, Judy, are we getting specifics? Yes, you will have that opportunity. Hold on one second. Strategy number 3. So we have the set it and forget it. Great. I'm going to do it once. I'm going to let it work for me. We have the one-to-one, which is a daily, activity for you in the way of lead gen. It's 1.5 hours a day. Okay. And then third, one-to-many. Again, this is leverage time. And the 2 key aspects of this are easy lift events, which is the most, the funnest and simplest one-to-many sales event that you've never heard of, because I came up with the name. Okay. And this is selling live without exhausting prep like live launches would typically do. And you don't need a team because it's that simple. Okay. And I mean, I had clients tell me that they've had even 3 people there at this event. It's intentionally intimate. So you don't feel the pressure of having hundreds. I've got to get, you love these people, these 8-figure people that have an army behind them. And they're like, look, just get 300 people to sign up in the next 5 days. You'll be fine. It's like, what? Get real, sister. Well, how long's it been since you were in my world? Right? Am I right? So this is great because you get 3 people there. And if one signs up and if you're priced right, I'll take it. How many of you would love to get your signature scalable offer and sign at least 1 client a week? Would that change your life? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So easy lift events does involve you, but then there's this passive aspect, and it's podcast guesting. Now, hang on a second. You're like, Judy, podcast guesting, I got to show up. Yes, but you show up once for the interview and then let that do its thing, right? This is the most leveraged way to get 24/7 sales without your direct involvement as they listen. Because unlike social, this podcast episode lives on forever on somebody else's feed, YouTube, all the different podcast platforms. And I mean, I get clients like this, mostly like one of my private clients come from podcast guesting. I mean, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past couple of years, every year from this. It's how you grow your list, you expand your reach, and you sign clients within days because they're like, I love what you got. How can I work with you? Okay. And by the way, some of my clients are here. I'm redoing the podcast guesting protocol. So 2.0 is coming up. It makes finding great shows even easier. So that's going to be exciting. All right. So you're like, Judy, thanks a lot. Okay. Now I have this, but how do I flesh out these 3 strategies? Well, I'm putting on an event the week of March 3rd. I'm calling it Scale. And I'm going to go deep into optimizing each of those lead gen strategies. And the first 100 tickets are free, baby. So if you would like to come, type in Scale in the chat. I'll put you on the wait list. My team is putting the finishing touches on our sales page. It's going to be hot. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the highest converting freebie type. There's lots of different types for 2026. I'm going to give you the step-by-step so you can put your freebie together in days. We don't overthink around here. And I'm going to lay out for you a complete sales ecosystem. It's a detailed roadmap to how these 3 strategies kind of work together to bring in a constant flow of the best, highest caliber leads and generate sales every week. So again, type Scale in the chat if you want to be a part of that. All right. So the next 30 minutes, well, till 2:00 my time, you have 2 things I want you to do. I want you to identify your core message. And again, it's the one thing, the big domino, that when you master this or you solve this, all the other problems are done. Okay. So, how I think about that is you really need to first write out all of the results that you help your clients get. All the things, the bigger things, right? And then look at it and say, if I had to choose one, what is the one skill, the one concept, something they have to understand and fully master, that once they do that, really everything else is all about that. And then step 2, if you have time, is to identify your core movement. Again, it's 1 or 2 words. You don't have to flesh it out, but think about, gosh, what am I about? Why am I doing this? Right? So think about, why do you do the work you do? And or what is the identity my best client aspires to? Or what is your best client done tolerating? Another way to think about it is, what do other experts in your world, in your industry, in your niche say that is completely wrong? Now, for my go-getters, my super smarty pants who may already be clients of mine and they already have this figured out, time permitting, identify 3 disruptive topics for your podcast guest appearances, because guess what? They're going to flow from the core message and the core movement. Because again, every offer flows from these 2 things. Every lead gen strategy, every word you utter comes from this. So again, this is foundational work. And if you want to get in line for hot seat coaching, drop coaching in the chat. We're going to get to as many as we can. Okay. And then for those of you, if you're not already a client of mine and you're like, I would love a business audit with you, Jude, to go further and kind of understand even better how this all fits together and how we might work together, there's a hot link for you to schedule an audit. All right, I'm going to come back to the chat, make sure, is there any questions? Say that again. What is a disruptive topic? So like your disruptive topics, I'm just trying to think what would be easy for me, a disruptive topic. Like one, I'm thinking of Andre only because I was looking at her stuff recently, is like exercise won't help you lose weight unless it's the right exercise, or metabolic, exercise isn't the answer unless you do it my way. So it's something like that, right? Um, I used to think of it as, it's not this, it's that. And that is a great kind of framework to initially think about it. But everybody's saying that now. So then say, well, what the heck is different about that? Like, what is your unique take on a commonly taught topic? Okay. So ladies, if you want hot seat coaching, put coaching down there, and you're going to want my eyes on it and talk it through, right? That's what I mean. We're going to be talking through your message, your movement, and your topics if you have them. Okay. So any questions, unmute. Otherwise, we're going to be heads down for the next 23 minutes. Okay, we good? All right, I'm keeping my camera on. If you need me, I'm going to look up every 5 or 10 minutes or so. Just type your question here if you have a question. Otherwise, we'll come back together at the top of the hour. Gosh, I can't even read. It said Colleen for resilient identity, and I don't know why I just read it as Laquita. It's so weird. Why did I do that? Anyway, all right. As you're finishing up and coming back, I just want to kind of give you an inside track, a little secret to do this work. And at least this is easy, made it easier for me. And that is going on Zoom and riffing. And just riff on your work with clients. Just talk about your work with clients. Talk about your methodology. First I do this, then I do that. Like, just riff, just let yourself go, right? Because sometimes you'll listen back and hear the genius of it. And can I just warn you, the most important, or that big domino, the big one, may not be the first pillar or the first step, right? So at my breakthrough level, it's offer, marketing, sales. And as I evaluated it, sales has to be at the center of each of that, even though offer was my first pillar. Okay. So I'm just giving you ideas to help you identify your core message and core movement. But another thing to think about is, where do others in your industry just get it so wrong and it makes you so furious? You hate when you see something like that appear on your feed. And then finally, what are you really passionate about? When you think about your clients and you see the transformation, that may help you to identify your core message. All right, here is the order that I have in coaching: Bonnie, Eugenia, Shan, Colleen, April, and Amanda. We'll get to as many as we can. All right, Bonnie. Oh, here we go. The message. Okay, creative identity is the thing that turns buried talents into best-selling books, hidden genius into visible authority, and hesitant writers into hidden genius into visible authority, and hesitant writers into faithful fishers who experience God-made success. Okay, creative identity. Okay, now that's the second one that said identity. And I know Bonnie, so I totally get it. And I know that's the thing that knocks it down, right? Can I just say, for all of us?
Yeah. It's about starting with who, and who is an acronym. And
Yeah.
so um, but it comes down to with the writing, everybody starts with all of the skill level stuff and they don't address all of the doubts and the fears and the excuses that you have because
Mm-hmm.
you're not clear on who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's getting that clarity about, yes, you have permission to write. Yes, you can do this. So it becomes more of a permission thing, which is something I struggled with for a very long time
Yeah.
because, it's just this creative adventure. And
Okay.
what's the point of it? Is it, I mean, it's not something that if we don't write, we're not going to die. But God has called us to this. And so many of us have just buried those
Mm-hmm.
dreams because they
Yeah.
don't seem important.
Right. Okay. I love this. I just always want to say, because I could say identity too. You've got to identify as a bold woman, specifically for my clients, a bold woman of faith who, you know, is not afraid to say the thing and to let it all hang out, kind of thing. Right. So I just urge you all to be careful because generally speaking, people don't buy identity. They don't buy mindset work, generally speaking. Okay. So then I'm thinking with what, again, body just riffed a bit, right? So I got out of that permission, maybe self permission. I don't know if that's the thing, but I would urge you, even though I get it, to think of what's another word, because think about it. In the way as we're thinking about podcast guesting, if you would say permission is the thing that will turn an aspiring author into a published one or a prolific one. It's like, ooh, what did she say? That just makes you stop, right? And it's disruptive. And I want you guys to write this down. The sea of sameness is over for everything. Okay. So this is the definition of disruptive. And let me tell you something. I thought for a time that was so overused, but I think it's a great word because it's that specificity. What's different about you? So here's some definitions of disruptive. And I want your core message to be disruptive within your industry, right? So within authors, permission, that's what I need. And that may not be it, but here's the point. The definitions of disruptive: introducing radical change or a radical new way, presenting a radically different point of view, or a pattern interrupt or a thought interrupt. That's disruptive. So they wouldn't expect it. Like with weight loss, you'd say, I don't know, I don't make something up. Watch what you eat. It's like food might be the core message for weight loss. But it's like, yeah, I've heard that 1,000 times. Oh, but did you hear about metabolic workouts? Maybe not even workout. Maybe something totally different. But y'all will get what I'm saying. It's got to be a little different because that's going to be the juice of I get pitched all the time and it's like, ho hum boring. You spelled my name wrong. No, I'm not Jennifer. It's like crazy, right?
And what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if this would make sense, but just the kind of the word that I made, like adventurize life. And it's really that it's turning life into an adventure, which is what really it's all about.
Yeah, I love that. And especially because you work with non-fiction, I always get that confused, non-fiction writers, adventure.
Yeah.
The core message is adventure. I love that for you, right? All right, so real quick, movement, faithful finishers, a movement for Christian creatives tired of starting strong but stalling out, ready to create consistently, honor their deadlines, complete what God called them to start. I love that. Faithful finishers. Yeah, I like that. I like that. And again, the key to this core movement is when your clients hear the word, they're instantly drawn to it. And as you flesh it out, they're all the more drawn in. They're leaning in at this point. So I think that's great. All right, Bonnie,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's go to Eugenia. I don't think you popped it in here, but tell me what your core message is. Where is she? There she is.
Yes. So my originally I had said that my core message was positioning, but now I'm doubting if positioning is my core solution and the message is something different. So after this training, I'm doubting it now.
Why is that? I'm curious. What's going on in your mind?
because I thought the way I processed it originally was the thing that's going to unlock sales and reach and engagement is positioning. But now I'm like, well, or is positioning my thing, and then I have a message on positioning.
I guess my issue with Bonnie's was identity. I'm not sure if just saying identity is going to do it, even with a descriptor word. For you, positioning makes sense because they think they need to go viral, or they think all these different things, and you're like, no, everything you want, it's positioning. Once I, in your genius, get them positioned well, then everything they want is going to flow for that. Do you guys see the difference? Identity, I just don't know that identity. I get a huge red flag for identity. Eugenia, for your work and your expertise, I mean, makes sense to me.
Okay, and does it have to say? There's an issue I'm having where it's downstream of positioning their sales, but it is not part of what we do in part of my work. At no point we don't review your lead generation strategy or your funnels or workshops, none of that.
Okay, so is your question, hey Jude, I don't help them with their lead gen per se, and I don't help them with their sales, so can I give a nod to it in their result? Is that what you're asking?
In the result, because of either the result or even the movement.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Because you know that when they're positioned right, that's just going to be the byproduct of awesome positioning. You are going to get better leads. You are going to get more leads. You are going to sign more clients. That doesn't mean that's what you specific. Your area of expertise is positioning. So you know that is the one big thing that's going to lead them to sales, and that's your thing. So I don't hesitate to
Okay.
speak their language.
Amazing. Thank you.
And you're so welcome. And to that point, you know, if you would be a life coach, for example, and you're helping them with decision making, or you're helping them handle different circumstances, but there's an element of you helping them knock down the mindset blocks so they can make more money, like, but you don't necessarily help them with the sales to the same point. You could still say that your core message, or movement rather, your core movement or core message is all about signing more clients or making more money if you're a career. So I really want you guys to give yourself more permission than not. Okay, do you hear me? And then post it in the Facebook group, the Holy Sales Facebook group, and I'll offer my 2 cents. But above all, I just want you to understand this is all best client centric, and what you know about them, which should be everything you need to know, and also something that resonates with you deeply, especially with respect to the core movement. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. Awesome. All right. Shan is next.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so I still need a lot of help on this. Whenever it was before we talked about this, and I was the one that was like, okay, identity, and you're like, okay, no, and I still haven't come up with my thing. But I think why I'm struggling is there's one word that it's like my core thing, I guess, that I talk about all the time, but it might sound negative, and so I don't know. So
Okay.
it's stress.
I love it.
Okay.
Can I just
Well,
say, one of my clients that's here, we landed on that very word. So tell me more.
okay, so obviously my client is a burnout nurse, and they are hung up on this idea of I'm just stressed out all the time. It's the career that I chose, it's the profession that I'm in. And what I want them to really understand about stress is that there's actually good stress, there's bad stress, and we need to always be fighting for the equilibrium in our life and take the conscious effort to do that and not just let the stress happen to us. And so you live your life on purpose with intention, knowing that stressors come all the time. How are you handling them?
I love it. I love it. So if I'm understanding correctly, you take the position that in my work with clients, you will, I don't know, for lack of a better word, you will get a handle on the stress. You will know the good stress from the bad stress. You will understand where you are on the spectrum of burnout. And I help you do that this way, that way, and the other. Like, to me, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So it's interesting, though, because other coaches that work with nurses, they may focus on something else, not stress. They may focus on time, right? Or being fully present or whatever, right? But I think that this issue of burnout or stress totally makes sense for your client and your work with them.
Okay. And then what would the core movement be? I was, I'll tell you what I was thinking. It was like, um, really the opposite of stress is rest. And so really speaking to, rest is part of who you are. It's part of your birthright. It's what you get to do as a child. Like going back to the identity, but like once you know your identity, you can fully rest and not feel like you have to keep doing, and producing.
Mhm. Okay. My only hesitation is the core movement needs to be a word that evokes emotion.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, rest could be a trigger word. I don't get to rest. You know what I mean? But then when you talk about it, they might be like, ah, that's what I'm missing. So I wonder, my gut says that's not quite it because I want an aspirational word or yeah.
Okay.
Let me just think for a second on that. Riff a little bit for me more as I'm um
On
like
why,
what are they done tolerating? Is there anything or what where do your other experts get wrong? Let's think about that for a second.
um, okay.
And
So,
or why do you do what you do?
um, they like to care for others. So they have a heart to care for others, but they, miss the whole thing of loving yourself first in order to love others. So they don't know how to make themselves worthy, which I know is your word, but it's like they don't know their worth. They think that they just run on empty to care for their children and their patients, not thinking that they have to first care for themselves. The other experts get it wrong that like you know, self-care, is the answer and just make sure you you get your self-care in, fit it in, make that the top priority. That uh let's see what else other experts say. That well, part of the it's all faith-based. So part of the other thing that I don't like is that, people push towards they can heal without the healer. And um so I am talking to the believer. And so that's obvious, like don't chase the other, I don't know what the world says, but the healing only comes from that relationship with the healer.
Okay. Okay. A word popped into my head from all that. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this is it or not. You think about it, but what you said, healed. Healed or fully healed or some other adjective in front of healed. Because
Okay.
talking about stress, that's the message, and the movement is healed, you know, or like that was one thing you specifically said. I'm just
What about healed and whole? Is that too many words?
I like short is you can flesh it out, but I just love healed. It's like, ooh, yes, I want to be healed. Whole means like I that doesn't like to me that's more generic, but healed when I think about who they are. It's so interesting because they're in the medical field. So that's another kind of wink, wink to your people. Here they are healing others, and while they themselves are just being torn down because they haven't had enough deposits. All they have is withdrawals from this, from the career, from the family. They just feel um, depleted.
Hmm.
And so, like that stood out for me. And guys, if ever as we're talking through, if a word pops up for you, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Um,
No, I like that because I think a lot of nurses feel like they literally feel not themselves, or they get to this point where when they're burnt out that they don't feel like themselves anymore. They feel kind of broken inside, and
Mhm.
they know they need healing, but they don't have the time or space or energy to get their own healing.
Yeah. I love that play on words for you.
Okay, me too.
Because here you are, the great healer. We see the nurses more than we see the doctors, and they're the ones that smile and greet us every day when we're in the hospital, for example, and all these things. And meanwhile, here they are, that smile is like fake because they're crumbling inside and they're weak and I really love that for you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
You're so welcome. All right, this is so fun. Colleen, you're next.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. So, okay, I get that you don't like identity. I
I
get that.
Do you
Okay.
see why?
Yeah. Okay. But what I really want to say, okay, but this, okay. So, what I really want to say is you're not the wackadoo. So,
Thank you.
who have people who have someone with borderline disorder, personality disorder, characteristics, traits, behaviors in their lives, quite literally, that person can drive those around them crazy before they figure out they're not the problem. They're not the wackadoo. So that's what I want to say is like, you're not the wackadoo. That's,
Okay,
and,
so
and the whole,
so who do you serve again? Refresh my memory. Tell me who you're serving.
okay. So people, and okay, so this is hard. This is part of why I need like really good words, but it's really hard because it's the family members who have someone, a loved one, who has borderline personality disorder
Okay.
or
Good.
narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay. Um,
However, I don't necessarily want to be using those words
yeah.
in the coaching world, but so what happens, and it's just,
I'm sorry, how do you call, if you don't use those specific words, how do you call out your
I
people?
know, I know. So, and see, the challenge is I don't want to be calling out to people just like layman people, like, oh yeah, that person, like they're giving their loved one a diagnosis. I focus on the traits, like what the relationship dynamic is, the traits, the characteristics, the behaviors. I can identify, I've been a therapist for 12 years. I can identify them with borderline. I grew up with a borderline. I know exactly what they're going through.
Okay.
And what I want to say is that's not who you are. But that is what happens when someone is in that environment, is that person, the BBT person, makes their mental health disorder the problem of and identity of their loved ones.
Got you.
So
But,
that's why it's so challenging because it actually does come down to I thought this was all my problem. I
okay,
thought
okay,
this was
so good. Okay, this is so good. Okay, so narcissism I'm well familiar with. Okay.
yeah.
So if a woman is married to a narcissist, she doesn't become a narcissist, she becomes a victim.
Yes. However, the narcissist will make that woman believe it's all her.
Yes. Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
So, dear lady, you're not the wackadoo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Like what's coming up for me is like it's not your fault.
I know, but that just sounds so like,
Yeah, fault.
you know,
Core
I
message.
don't know, kind
So,
of
so
pliffy.
so how do you, okay, just let's get a little bit deeper here. So tell me a little bit about your work in a very compact kind of way to get them to see that it's not their fault, that it's not who they are, who that jackrabbit says they are, etc. Like, what does your work look like with them?
So, a lot of times what I start with, it's like, oh, let's do this little survey. And I have a survey of going through, 30 questions of is this the behavior? Is this the dynamic between you and this loved one? Is this how you feel when you're with does your loved one ever, are these behaviors you see your loved one do? And anyway,
Yeah.
go through these 30 questions and then give them so I didn't create it. It's,
Okay.
some doctors created it, and then
Okay.
that kind of opens the door for them to see.
Okay. Okay. And you said resilient identity. Tell me about resilience. How does that impact kind of what?
Okay. So you got to have bounce. So actually, I'm often working with men who have whose wife has gone off the deep end, and he's got to continue dealing with her because they have children. Or I've got a woman who they're seeing this in their adult
Hmm.
daughter
Mm-hmm.
and or son,
Okay.
and they're really concerned about the grandchildren. And they're trying to maintain enough of relationship with their adult child so that they still have access to the grandchildren.
Gotcha.
So you got to have a lot of resilience. You got to have a lot of bounce. You got to have a lot of perspective.
Yes.
You've got to be able to, you know, you've got to be able to have really good internal boundaries so that you're not taking all this on as your fault, as
Okay.
you're doing,
Okay.
but to be able to recognize what's going on.
Okay. I got it. I got two options. Okay.
Okay, give them to me.
Resilience, maybe, but I almost feel like that's a bit of a miss because, yes, you need resilience, but it's not just like bouncing around like a tennis ball. Like I'm resilient to
Oh,
take.
no, 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 no. No,
I'm
your foundation needs to be in Jesus.
right, right. Okay, so that's good. So the
So,
two words
yeah.
that come up and the two words that you said, one is boundaries, one's perspective.
Hmm.
So I really personally like boundaries.
Resilient boundaries.
I love that.
Okay.
Or just boundaries. Resilient boundaries?
So my practice, my
Perspective.
coaching practice is resilient foundations coaching.
Resilient. Okay, resilient.
And and part of the reason why I'm making the transition to coaching is because I would have clients come in and I would be listening to them like, yeah. So God would just bring me the family members of, okay. And this is what it was come down to. I really don't like the whole counseling field,
Mm-hmm.
but this way, my clients don't need a diagnosis.
Right.
They need Jesus and they need some resiliency training. They need some skills.
There you go. You keep coming back to resilience. I say
Yeah.
resilience is the thing, and then you flesh that out on how is it that everything you've done, how is boundaries really wrapped up in resilience? How is perspective really an aspect of
Oh,
resilience?
yeah. I mean, oh, absolutely. I mean, that's like my whole framework.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Resilience is the thing
Hmm.
that gets you whatever they want, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The calm in the chaos, yeah. Um, joy-filled relationships.
So do I just say resilient foundation?
I just like resilience.
Resilient?
Because here's the deal, ladies, with a core movement or a core message, even with a core movement, less is more.
Okay.
Y'all, did you look at my emails from earlier this week? This 5-day event had long words, breakthrough to 250, 500, blah, 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 blah. So that now it's just called scale.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, and anyone else who's listening, is resilient overused?
Okay, I love you so much. It's not about that. It's
Okay.
not about that. And this is where when I said you've got to be all in, each of you, on your core message and your core movement. You've got to believe it. You've got to look at what you're doing and say, you know what? Resilience is the thing. And then you can say resilience. Because how many other counselors turned coach are talking about resilience? Probably not many. They're talking about more of the nuts and bolts of their methodology, whatever. But the whole thing about the core message is, again, you're trying to be disruptive. You're trying to say the
Hmm.
things that nobody else is saying. And even if other people say that, then maybe add a descriptor word in front of it. And or as you flesh out what resilience really means and why it is at the core of your message, talk about things in a different way than others do, because that's the point in all of this. We want to think of things, present concepts, and the way we work with clients to be slap in your face different than anybody else that they're going to see.
Okay. So is it really obnoxious to say you're not the wackadoo?
I mean, I've been on the other side of narcissism and I never thought I was a wackadoo. I thought I was guilty.
Yeah, guilt and shame, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. So
I
maybe,
also, so I don't know. I don't really want to say that because I also want my clients to develop an understanding that the person really is actually suffering.
Mhm,
Someone who has borderline, I mean, they are suffering.
mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
they make everyone around them suffer as well, but in a different way,
Right.
but at the core, they're really suffering.
The bottom line here, Colleen, and for all of you is to pray about it because any one of the things we talked about, perspective, boundaries, resilience, what's the last thing you said? Gosh, I can't even remember what you just said right now. Um,
Um,
what did she just say?
Suffering.
Suffering, um, you could go negative or positive, right?
Mhm.
Stress. It's like, what? Stress
Yeah.
is related to weight loss? What? Stress is related to, well, I guess it's obvious stress is related to burnout, but still the healed is like, what? I'm burned out. You're saying I'm healed? Wait, what? I
Mhm.
want that. So there's almost no wrong answer here. But I'm telling you, trust me, less is more. No more than 2 words. And how you talk about it in your content is what gonna give it teeth that your people are going to lean into. Okay, so I would love for you to give some more thought to it and post it in the group, and I'm happy to. If you saw the some of the video feedbacks I've done over there, it's you know it's detailed. It's not
Okay.
like a three
Okay.
second thing. So, all right, awesome.
Okay.
April,
Hey,
hi. So
all
let's work
right.
on one. Do you want to do the core message or the core movement?
Um, well, which one do you think needs the most work?
I don't know. Tell me. I think I
We were just trying to figure out what the domino was.
yeah. Let's do that on your core
Okay.
message. So what did I even say? What we're oh, gosh, this thing.
I think you thought everything was okay. I just needed the domino, like the big thing.
Yeah, so what is the big thing? You said the big thing was nervous system regulation, which is,
Yes.
and do you think that your best client says, Lord God, please, God, help me to regulate my nervous system? Okay.
No.
What is she praying? What is she, what does she want? Like, what is her aspiring to be, have her life like? What does that look like?
Well, I mean, it hits every woman differently. So the majority of women are exhausted, brain fog, relationships are in the toilet, like, those kinds of, that's what she's feeling. Um, but the core of it is, I mean, sometimes it is nutrition, sometimes it is, other things that's causing it, but almost 90% I found if we can balance that nervous system, a lot of these things resolve on their own before
Okay.
we ever have to.
Okay. So at first I thought you were going to go down hormones, but
Well, and I was before, but I'm shifting because everybody's doing hormones. They can look on Chat GPT for that. But the emotional side of it, the emotional safety side is where they don't.
wow.
You
Okay.
can't get.
What you just said is genius. Okay. So
Okay.
I had regulation, balance. Okay.
Okay.
But now you said safety. So like for you, it's almost not there's no wrong answer. You said,
There's not. Yeah.
hey, the reason
Yes.
that you have the belly bulge is because you don't feel safe. And
Hmm.
it's your job to believe it so much that you wrap all your messaging around it. So everything ultimately points to that because nervous
Okay.
system regulation is about safety and the brain fog is because whatever, I don't even know, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I don't know,
Yes.
safety or even balance, maybe
Yeah.
balancing of the hormones, balancing of a balanced meal, balanced movement. I don't know.
Hmm.
That feels potentially awesome to me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, I want to get on to Amanda, and I don't know if I have time for Laquita or not, but Amanda, I think was next. I think.
Well, I guess my only other question is how would I word that?
How do you mean
Would
how?
I what I so go back to my original
Yeah, I
comment.
think that finding your word is the step number one. And then I'm scrolling up now.
Okay.
Um, if you look at, and I'm going to copy and paste it here. If you look, there's a lot of words here. So
Mm-hmm.
say, look at that and say, can I take each of these big transformations, these results that they want, and can I say them more succinctly? That's your work. So I think you already have it.
Okay.
It's more, how can I say this so succinctly, concise, punchy? What's the other word I use? It's just tight, because this is a little bit wordy, but you've got the nuts
Yeah.
and bolts there. So
Okay.
it's funny. April had said in the chat, well, do I have to like throw it all out now? Never just throw it out. The
Okay.
work you do is enough to get started. Okay. So I would encourage you, April, and all of you, if you want my eyes on it, pop it into a Google Doc and drop the link, and I will comment on it. Okay. This is really good. All right, April. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Amanda.
Hi. So I'll just be brief because I know it's getting late. So with my core message, I was talking about, you and I have talked about it before, some embodied decision making skills.
Huh?
And I know a biblical mindset rewiring is part of mine as well. So rewiring our minds. But here's, as you're talking, I'm like, well, no one goes around like, dear God, please teach me embodied, decision making. And maybe they pray for a renewal of their mind. Um, but I really want to help female Christian entrepreneurs in particular who have a side business, but they're also working a 9 to 5 and they're feeling called to that side business more full time. So we talked about the exit strategy and everything. So how do you feel about the core message still being in this kind of decision making aspect, or do you think I need to switch gears?
So good. It could work, but I want you to love it, and I can tell in my bones you don't. Okay. So I want to say with April, why I said nervous system regulation is that is a term of art. There is a lot of people talking about nervous system regulation. And so for that, could someone have a core message of nervous system regulation? Absolutely. But that's a little bit, I don't know. I guess an argument could be made that it's disruptive in the context of her work, but it just, I don't know. I just didn't think it was potent enough. So I want to be clear. Your core message doesn't have to be what they're praying for per se. In fact, I want it to be disruptive. So I want you to think of something almost like that they're not thinking of in it. Then you're like, well, Judy, your core message is sales. So people talking about sales. Yeah, but they don't think about a sales centric business. They don't think about the offer is really based on sales. So there's definitely creative license when it comes to these things. But you know what? As you were talking, because I'm loving simplicity, embodiment, embodiment for your person is great in all things, not just decision making. Embodiment in the actions, embodiment in the thoughts, embodiment in the decision making, embodiment. So I don't know. I kind of like that. Embodiment is the thing. You think that you're not making X dollars in your side business because you haven't found the right strategy. No, it's about embodiment. When embodiment is going to open the door for any strategy to work. Embodiment is going to make you feel calm. It's going to help you to be more efficient and effective in your work as you sit down to do your work in the limited time that you have. So, isn't it fun? That's what I'm saying. Because you know what? 6 months ago, my core message was messaging. So, but I can tell you from now until the day I die, I don't see sales changing. But so don't beat yourself up, y'all, if you decided something and then you're like, ooh, I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So I think because I remember in when we initially talked, it was like mindset is my strategy. But then mindset is so broad and so, they also have to know what to do with their mindset. And so making these decisions about all kinds of things, how to spend their time, their energy, how to balance all of this. That's the biggest thing I feel like people come to me with is how do I balance the craziness of trying to build the part-time business and still work the full-time business.
That is why I love embodiment or something other than balance. They're going to expect balance. You think you need more balance? There is no such thing as balance, but what you do need is embodiment. And let me show you what I mean by that. I mean,
Okay.
that is the authority category owner perspective on what's going on with your person.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So welcome. Laquita, we're going to end with you today. Let's see. I know you put it in here someplace. And again, put it in the Facebook group for my review since we don't have time for anybody else. Okay. Grounded decision making under fire. Okay. Where are you? Laquita, unmute, please.
Sorry.
So, I thought we were decided. Now, as I look at that, and that's fine, it's your business, but I thought we decided on decision making under fire.
Yes, we did. And so
Or grounded decision making, but I think grounded decision making under fire is like I got confused in my brain when I was thinking about it.
okay, and that was just because I was looking at it, and just to caveat, we did talk about it. For this lab today, I just decided to just go with what I had in my head and not go back and pull. So this is what came up, and I put the grounded because I had to decision making, but then I was like, oh, maybe that's just going to seem too much like I was just talking about making a decision, and I wanted there was so much more into it because I was looking at, well, maybe if I talk about the chaos, but because there was more than just, but maybe I'm also reaching because I was saying that there was more. I wanted them to know that there was an emotional and spiritual aspect of it to be grounded, not just make a decision after betrayal as if I was talking about like one simple one there ago, but just part of that calming the chaos was all that stuff that you had to have in place to be strong to make it. So that was all. So I was like, oh, maybe I need to put that grounded on to.
Yeah, I mean, I love decision under fire, decision making under fire, or make a decision. I don't like make a decision under fire, but decision making under fire. Why I love the under fire is, and I live that, the betrayal, how she handles betrayal. So, for you, a great point is a stat on, do you know that the average woman makes X tens of thousands of decisions every day? And like we already talked about on your VIP Voxer Day, that you used to make decisions clearly and confidently, and now you're just, because of this news, you're just, everything feels weighty.
Second guessing.
Yeah, the right decision feels like almost impossible. So I love the under fire aspect. That's my favorite part of that whole thing, because that speaks to her right there. Does she want the calm? Yes. But see, again, with the betrayal, she wants to be calm. But let's be real, when when this just comes out of left field and you're like, being calm is, I don't know. I feel like she can more easily see herself getting back to her confident decision-making self more than calm, because she's looking at a potential divorce and the whole upheaval of her life. And so I just feel like the calm feels like a bit of a stretch to me.
Okay. So then maybe more towards the first one, the decision making, and I'll play with that.
Yeah. Decision making under fire. I love the under fire because that's the point. It's like, ooh, all these things are coming at me, and the attorney says they want to do this, or my mom has this opinion, church has this opinion, and I'm reading the Bible and every other verse I don't even know. I keep flipping flopping, right? So
Okay.
And then core movement, real quick, helping Christian women move out of emotional whiplash and into God-led clarity before making life-altering decisions. Okay, so the core movement is also one word. So what do they aspire to be? Maybe that could be calm, or maybe that could be, maybe that could be, gosh, I don't know. Like, again, it's an emotive word. It doesn't have to be, it can be.
You know what comes up for me is matriarch, but that could mean different things to different people. But that's what's coming up to me, because to me it embodies how she wants to show up in her family, the legacy to leave behind, whether it's with this husband or not, what she's showing her kids, what she's showing her community. So maybe I'll pull the thread on that a little bit. Because I know in and of itself, that could just seem like, okay,
But
but
again, in and of itself, any of these words mean nothing. It's how we talk about it, the passion with behind our words, and really how we define it, you know. And that's why a lot of these times for the core movement, you could put into chat, once you decide your core movement, you could say, okay, create a manifesto, you know, like I'll just say, what's the word you just said? The matriarch manifesto, but you have to give them other stuff. Okay, so here's my person, and here's where I'm taking her from here to there, and this is what she wants her life to be, in the after, et cetera, et cetera.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. To those I didn't get to, I'm sorry. But posting in the Facebook group, you'll get this same time, trust me, as I put my brain to your ideas. And then last one next week, sales lab. And there's so many ways I could go, so I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. But I can promise you this: you're going to feel way more confident with every sales situation. And frankly, hint, hint, every situation is a sales situation at home and at business, or home at work, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. All right. Love you all so much. Mwah. God bless you. I look forward to seeing your stuff in the Facebook group.